welcome back to First Blood. Okay, so Hotline Miami played through GOG.com. Game works perfectly fine. There's actually fairly large amount of settings for the surprisingly, minimalist looking graphics, so you can do resolution, VSync. A couple of the settings are actually for game controls, like switching the right bumper with the right trigger, which the right bumper is actually used as the attack button in default mode. The game can be played with either keyboard and mouse or a 360 controller or gamepad, and I ended up using the controller simply because I felt more comfortable using it, and the game is really dependent on fast reflexes. It's now been updated. This configuration tool lets you play either the original version of the game like when it came out, or you can play the updated version, and I based the review off of the updated version because I figured that's what most people are probably going to just play. Now, the game starts off pretty much throwing you right into the game. There's a really small tutorial section that literally just tells you basically what buttons to press and how to aim and move and look around the map, which are all going to be really important techniques that you develop to get through this game. And then other than that, you pretty much just start the game out and you're in the action right away. Between each stage, there's tiny little interlude segments that fill in the story, but other than that, you're pretty much in each stage. It's a very arcade style game, so it's really all about reflexes. The gameplay itself is an arcade mix of action, stealth, and speed pretty much. So you will die all the time, and it's pretty much expected that you're gonna die a lot because you will be dying constantly as you try different methods of killing all the enemies, and you pretty much only have one hit. So the game isn't particularly long, except it's gonna take people quite a while to get through each stage because you're gonna figure out your way of getting through the stages. Are you gonna use guns more? Are you gonna use melee weapons which are silent? Are you gonna try and sneak around patrolling guards and things like that? But the main gameplay is very fast paced. Like, once you are fighting guys, you have to do it really quickly and you have to be very precise. So it's a lot of fun because there's sort of a whole planning element, but at the same time, sometimes you just want to go all in and go crazy and just shoot the place up, and sometimes that actually works better. Sometimes you'll be playing and you get into a rut because you think you know the right way to do it and you keep trying to do it and it just doesn't work, and then you just say, screw it, I'm just gonna run in and kill these guys, and that actually sometimes ends up working better. There's not really a lot to the game, but it's a lot of fun and it keeps your attention while you're actually playing it because there is sort of this strategic element, and there's a huge skill-based element, so that's a lot of fun. And the story itself is surprisingly interesting. It's mostly background, but somehow it makes you want to find out what's going on. I feel like the one other thing that I really should point out is that this game has a phenomenal soundtrack. It's the music really. Somehow the music itself makes the game a little bit unsettling because it's an incredibly violent game and the story is incredibly violent. Despite the really colorful graphics and, the pixelated art, it really does kind of make you think a little bit about the excessive violence, and I bet for some people it actually might make a few people sort of uncomfortable to play the game. But the music itself helps drive this really strange ambience to the game, and the game itself is a unique experience. Nothing else you've ever played is going to be like this game. Now, I will say though that there are definitely, I guess, a few cons you could say to the game. First of all, depending on how quickly you learn to play this game and how efficiently you play it, it can be a very short game, 2 to 3 hours probably for most people. And in fact, for me, I got stuck the most on the one level where you don't actually have to kill anybody. You have to sneak around. That was the hardest level for me and took the longest time. Because it's an arcade style experience, there's not too much replay value aside from just playing through the game again. If you get a good enough score in each stage, you unlock a new mask. You choose a mask when you start a level, and the mask gives you a certain special ability. Like, some of the more useful ones are, one will make your guns quiet, one will make dogs not attack you, one will make you start with certain weapons, things like that. So you'll unlock those, and I personally didn't have to replay a level ever because I would always get a good enough score to unlock it to begin with. Now, I don't know if that'll be the case with everybody, so for me that aspect of replay wasn't really there because I was already just getting the stuff from the beginning. There is a puzzle like a secret puzzle with tiny hidden items throughout each level that you have to find. I didn't get that right away, so that will give you a little bit of replay because you'll want to find out what the puzzle actually unlocks for you. And then also the other unlocks you get through the game are you unlock new weapons. So the levels themselves have randomly generated weapons spread throughout, so the more you play the game, the more weapons you unlock. Your score carries over to unlock new weapons between each stage, so you don't have to get a certain score on a certain stage to unlock a certain weapon. It's a rolling unlock system in the background. And so I mean, once you've played through the whole game and you've unlocked a bunch of weapons, if you go back and play through it again, you'll get to play with new weapons and kill people in different ways, so that is pretty fun and gets a little bit more replay value. But other than that, once you finish the game, there isn't really too much to drive most people to keep playing it, and it's a pretty short game, so that's something you should keep in mind. And as I mentioned before, this is one of those games where if you are prone to rage quitting, if you get stuck at a part in this game, it can be infuriatingly difficult, especially some of the boss fights. The boss fights are super technical. The boss fights, there's only one way you can do it no matter what. And for a while, you will just constantly die almost instantaneously with some of these boss fights, which can be very frustrating. But if you get really frustrated by playing video games when they're really challenging or sort of even almost unfairly challenging, you may find that you hate this game. Personally, I didn't think it was ever unfairly challenging because it was structured in a way that you could figure it out, and there was very specific tactics, that you could do technically flawlessly once you knew how to do it. So it wasn't really unfair, but it was very, very challenging. So overall, after my first taste of blood with Hotline Miami, I was totally hooked on this game. Just the myriad of different ways of approaching problems and getting through stages was just really addictive to me. I almost played through the entire game in my first sitting, actually. That being said, once you do get through the whole game, I didn't really feel like there was too much more to draw me back into it, except for the fact that there's just this unique atmosphere that really makes the game memorable. Honestly speaking, most people will probably want to pick this up now when it comes out on sale, but if you're really into arcade games and you're really into fast-paced action and you want to play a game that actually makes you use your brain, surprisingly, pick this game up. You'll like it a lot. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Check out the links in the description if you want to help support me. I'll see you next time.